Hello everybody, welcome to another video, and today we're talking about something that I don't talk about too much, but because today I decided to talk a little bit of wrestling. So normally I've done some videos on wrestling on WWE. I did some videos for that was weird, for Wrestlemania, because one, biggest show of the year in WWE, two, I was lucky enough to attend, and well, I didn't do too much afterwards, mostly because of time and stuff like that, a whole bunch of stuff. But I thought it'd be fun, with the year being over, it'd be fun to go back and rank all of the WWE PLEs we got this year. And yes, I just, in case you're wondering, I'm including Wrestlemania Night 1 and Night 2 as two separate entries, and I will be including Saturday night's main event, even though it technically isn't a PLE. But I wanted to include it just because I can. This is my video. I can do whatever I want. So, even if you don't like it, haha. So yeah, let's just get started, guys. In last place, I got Crown Jewel from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. I'm hoping I said that right. To me, I didn't think this was a bad show. I honestly don't think that there were any bad shows throughout the year. But to me, this was just the most forgettable one. Like, I honestly forgot about a whole bunch of the matches in this PLE. We had Cody and Gunther for the Crown Jewel Championship, which I was mainly disappointed because I was hoping for a Cody Gunther feud for a actual title, not this Crown Jewel thing. I mean, I didn't hate it. I mean, they put on a good match. It's just, you know, I feel like Cody Gunther could have been an awesome feud, and I feel like they kind of wasted it here. Although we could still get a part 2, and this could mean something later. Liv and Nia Jax, I thought was good, but I kind of wish there wasn't as much interference as there was. And then all the other stuff I kind of forgot were on the show, like the OG, well, technically they're not the full OG bloodline. It was like Roman and the Usos versus Solo and his bloodline. So I didn't think this was a bad show, but there's nothing in the show that made it stand out to me. Like, to me, it's just okay. It was another show. I enjoyed my time watching it, but yeah, I would put it in last place. Next up, at number 13, I got Money in the Bank from Toronto, Canada. To me, what's funny about this PLE for me is that, again, I don't think it's bad or anything, but for me, this was two matches that were awesome, and the rest were kind of there. I kind of forgot they were on the show. And that being the Money in the Bank ladder matches, the title of the PLE. The women's Money in the Bank ladder match was fantastic. All the crazy moves and stuff. Them teasing us and making us think Chelsea Green was going to win just for Tiffany Stratton to push her off the ladder, going through. What was it she went through? Another ladder to win the Money in the Bank briefcase. And I thought the men's Money in the Bank ladder match was also really good. Granted, I wasn't a big fan of how they decided to do it. I wasn't the biggest fan of them having Drew win. He cashes in the same night, and then CM Punk cost him for it. I personally think that he should have came very close to getting it, and then CM Punk cost him the Money in the Bank briefcase. But that's not what they decided to go with. So, you know. And then, I'm not going to lie to you, I kind of forgot about the other matches on the card. I kind of forgot about, like, I think Braun and Jay were on the card. It's just, the rest of the show was alright. It was still enjoyable. It just wasn't as good as the ladder matches. Next up, at number 12, I got Bash in Berlin from Berlin, Germany. This was another show that I thought was good. It just wasn't, outside of one match, to me, wasn't very special. I did really like Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk strap match. I thought that was really fun. Kind of wish it was pin or submission, not the touch four corners. It's pin or submission, just anything goes, and they're strapped together, and they can use it against each other. But it was still, I really enjoyed it. And then the rest of the show was enjoyable. Gunther, Randy, that was enjoyable. I don't like it as much as other people do. Like, I feel like a lot of people love the match. It wasn't my favorite. Kevin Owens, Cody Rhodes was enjoyable, but nothing like crazy. This was before their feud got like really, really good. We had the Terror Twins versus Liv and Dom, which was fun to see. I don't think it needed to be on a PLE. I think that could have been a Monday Night Raw match, but it was still really fun. So yeah, and I might be forgetting some other matches. I believe there was a Jade and Bianca defended the titles here, or maybe they got them back here. I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember. But the rest of the show, it's enjoyable. It's just not my favorite. Is CM Punk getting okay? Not my favorite, but enjoyable. At number 11, I got the Elimination Chamber from Perth, Australia. To me, this is another show where it's weird. So, I really like both Elimination Chamber matches. The women's Elimination Chamber match was a blast. It was so fun. Yes, it was predictable. We all knew Becky Lynch was going to win, but I still was okay with it. Personally, I wanted either Becky or Liv to win it, and one of my two choices that I wanted to win it did. So that was great for me. And then there was just a bunch of crazy spots in it as well as the men's Money in the Bank. The men's Elimination Chamber match I thought was a blast. I loved Kevin Owens and Logan Paul's dynamic throughout the entire match. I just found that to be so fun. People went through the glass in the actual pods. I thought it was a great match. I really enjoyed it. And then outside of that, we had Rhea and Nia Jax, which main evented, which I think it's awesome that Rhea Ripley got the main event in her hometown. But the match wasn't my favorite. I mean, I wouldn't say it was bad. It wasn't as entertained as I would have liked to been. What's funny is that the other match on the card, which I believe was Judgment Day versus New Catch Republic, was like a really good match. Like, I was surprised by how good it was. But I still had trouble getting invested because they literally had told no story at all. They kind of just like announced, oh, by the way, this match is happening. And it happened. And then it was nothing ever happened after. It's like, what? Why? That was weird. But the match was still good. But overall, mostly two matches that I remember really well, that being Elimination Chamber matches. Alright, bring us into the top 10. We got the one that's technically not a PLE, but I'm including it. That being Saturday night's main event from Long Island, New York. This was a really enjoyable show. It was nice and quick, so it didn't waste too much time. I liked all the matches that we got. Drew and Jay was the only one that I'm not sure it needed to be there because some things were rushed, but it wasn't bad. Liv Morgan, Io Sky was really enjoyable. I really liked Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens, this time being much better in my personal opinion, was because I was more invested in the story that they were telling. Yeah, would you look at that, CM Punk won. So yeah, I really enjoyed it for the most part. Alright, now at number 9, I got Survivor Series War Games from Vancouver, Canada. This is a show that I actually enjoyed more than most people seem to, which is kind of funny. The men's War Game match, the Bloodline Civil War Games, whatever you want to call it, OG Bloodline versus Solo's Bloodline, I thought was just awesome. It was so much fun. A tsunami off the top of the cage. Jimmy Uso with the Uso Splash off of the cage. People going through tables. People getting hit with all kinds of weapons. I thought it was a blast. I really enjoyed it. Hold on, I'm just trying to set up another match here. And even the women's War Game match, which I know not a lot of people were fans of, I really enjoyed it. I agree, the story going into it was not very good. It kind of just felt like it was rushed and sloppily put together just so they could have a women's War Games match. But the actual match itself, I personally thought was a blast. Although I didn't like the ending, I think it should have ended in one of two ways. Either one, Liv Morgan pins Rhea Ripley, Team Liv wins, or two, Tiffany Stratton cashes in, and we get this whole thing of, oh man, which champion is she gonna pin? Maybe it's whoever she pins wins. I don't know, something crazy could have happened. They're in the cage, it would have been awesome. They didn't do either of those two things. They just had, I think they actually had Rhea pin Liv. And so to me, they made the wrong choice with how to end it, but I still enjoyed the match overall. Outside of that, though, we had one more match that I really liked, that being Sheamus versus Braun Breaker versus Ludwig Kaiser for the Intercontinental Championship. I thought that was just a banger. It was great. I knew who was going to win. I knew it was going to be Braun, but there were a couple times that they made me think, oh shoot, are they actually going to are we going to actually crown a new champion for both Ludwig and Sheamus? And every time I got invested, every time Sheamus had a near fall, I was like, oh my gosh, she's actually going to win it, and then kick out. I was like, oh dang it, he's not going to win it. So that was awesome. And then the other two matches were all right. Damian Priest versus Gunther, I thought was fine. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. It was just fine, and then they ended it with the Finn Balor getting involved. I wasn't a fan of that, but you know, Oh my goodness, is this gonna end in a count out? Really? This ended in a count out? Bro. And I wasn't the biggest fan of LA Knight versus Shinsuke Nakamura either for the US title. That was way too quick. And it had not enough build up in my opinion. But yeah, and the ref is running into the ring. That's weird. But okay. Okay. Now moving on to number 8, I have King and Queen of the Ring from, hopefully I said this right, Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. I hope I said that right. I was surprised at how good this show was. I thought this show was pretty great. We had the finales of the King and Queen of the Ring matches. We had with Randy Orton and Gunther. I thought it was pretty good. Again, this is another match that's similarly to their second round. People were I've heard a lot of people say that they love the match. They think it's great, one of the best matches of the year. I personally don't agree with that. I don't even think it was my favorite match on the card. Hot take, but it was enjoyable, and I had a feeling Gunther would win. But there were times when it made me think, oh shoot, Randy Orton might win this. And then we also had the Queen of the Ring match with Lyra Valkyria versus Nia Jax, which I actually thought was really good. And I knew Nia Jax was gonna win, but I couldn't help but root for Lyra. I was really hoping that she would win it. And there were a couple times where they'd give me an earful. I was like, oh my gosh, are they actually gonna let Lyra win? It made me so happy. That didn't happen, but I was still hoping, and it made me excited when I saw it. So, wish it happened, but it didn't. We also had Cody Rhodes versus Logan Paul, only for the WWE title, not for, oh my gosh, this doesn't count out, I swear. Not for the US title, which I was okay with, even though we all knew Cody was going to win. I didn't see Logan Paul getting it, although there were some near falls that made me like, whoa, that was really close. Yeah, I thought the match was awesome. I thought it was a great match. This is another feud for Cody that I really wanted. I really wanted Cody versus Logan Paul. I thought that'd be so fun because one of the most liked good guys, one of the most hated bad guys, or most liked baby faces, most hated heels. I just think it would be a blast, and it was. I thought it was a great match, and even Becky Lynch versus Liv Morgan, I thought was great. It was really enjoyable. I thought this was a great show. I don't think there was a single bad match on this PLE, so that's why I got high. Not quite high enough, although this is about where I start heading. Well, this is around the spot on the list that I couldn't tell what I liked more. This one was higher than it was now, and then it came down to this far. It was a lot higher before. I eventually decided to put it at number 8, but it almost was higher. But right now, I'm going to go with what almost feels like a hot take, because I feel like everybody likes this next one more than I do. At number 7, I got Backlash from Lyon, France. I like this PLE. I think it's a great PLE. We had great matches. I just didn't like it as much as other people did. Now, obviously, the crowd was amazing. They were on fire. Probably the loudest, most excited, best crowds we've seen. I thought it was great. Obviously, that's the big talking point of Backlash France. And then the actual matches themselves were really good. Cody versus AJ Styles, which what's funny is that this is one that I feel like a lot of people are like, this is one of the best matches of the year. I was like, yeah, it was a fine match. I did not like it as much as other people did. I don't know why. Maybe it just wasn't my style of match, because I don't even know how to explain it. It was like a kind of slower style match. And I was like, yeah, that was a good match. It was not nowhere near my top 10 of the year. Like a lot of people are like top 5 of the year, top 3 of the year. Just like, what? No, I disagree. I'm sorry, hot take. But it was still a good match. The Bloodline solo and I think it was Tonga taking on RKO, Randy Orton, Kevin Owens, was a blast in that street fight, which wasn't going to be a street fight until last minute, and that was just maybe my favorite match on the PLE. It was so much fun. But yeah, I ended up putting it at 7. I couldn't decide where to put this one. This is another one that I thought was really good. I knew I didn't like it as much as most people seem to, but I still did enjoy it, so I knew it was going to be this top 8 section here. I just couldn't tell where at, and I decided to go at number 7. The next one I think is another hot take, and honestly maybe should be one lower than Backlash, under Backlash, but because of 2 matches, it is where it is. So at number 6, I got Bad Blood from Atlanta, Georgia. Now I admit this PLE has 2 great matches, and the rest are good or fine. Those two great matches. Let's start off with the one that main evented, even though it should open the show. That being Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns taking on Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. It wasn't like one of the best matches I've seen, but there's just something so. Whenever Cody and Roman are in the ring together, whether on opposite sides or on the same side, it's just something awesome to see, in my opinion. And seeing them come together after Cody actually did beat Roman, teaming up, to me was so cool. It did kind of feel like the Never Before, Never Again Rock Cena thing that happened back, I think it was Survivor Series 2011, I believe, where it was just that crazy and awesome. So that the star power was just, it was there, it was awesome. And I liked the match a lot. There was a lot of cool things happen, like Cody Rhodes putting Jacob Fatu through the table. It was a really cool match. And then the other match is obviously one of the matches of the year. Top two, Drew McIntyre, CM Punk in their cell match, battling it out. It got brutal. It got bloody. It got like really bloody, a lot bloodier than I was ever expecting. It was awesome. Just switched the match again. Anyway, like I said, that match, bro, is like one of the best matches I've seen. I think it was, and it did feel like a real fight. Like it didn't feel like a just crazy spectacle wrestling match. It felt like a real fight between two guys who hate each other, who wanted to severely hurt each other, maybe even kill each other, duking it out as violently as they could think of, with some of the most violent things I've seen in a wrestling match, and it was awesome. And the best part is, it felt earned. It was deserved. It wasn't just violence for violence sake. It was built up to 2 matches beforehand. This was the finale. And we could just tell that they hated each other so much throughout since Wrestlemania, since Royal Rumble, that we could just feel it building. It didn't feel long and drawn out, but it was properly built up, and it was awesome. And those 2 matches are really what make the show great. And that's where you could argue that this should have been lower on the list, because all the matches in between weren't quite as good. Also, yes, Drew Punk should have main evented, and it was stupid that they didn't. I love Cody Rhodes. I love Roman Reigns. And heck, I like The Rock. And he was the main reason why that, he was the only reason why that main evented, but it should not have main evented, even with The Rock, especially since Rock did literally absolutely nothing, so he didn't even need to be there at all. But that should have main evented. The other matches in between were alright. Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley was enjoyable, but the ending was not done well, in my opinion. I did not like how they ended that match, where so the ref like let Rhea beat on Dom with a, well, I think it was a kendo stick, was it? And that was fun to see, but he allowed that. Raquel interferes, calls off the match, and I think personally, I think how they should have ended it was the ref gets knocked out, Rhea takes this time to beat on Dom because he's hanging out of the cage, and as she's beating on Dom, Raquel comes out, knocks out Rhea Ripley. Liv Morgan goes for the pin. Ref wakes up. 1, 2, 3. Liv wins, and that's why she won. And that could lead to that could have led perfectly to Rhea being like, well, I need another title shot because that wasn't fair. But also, it is partially Rhea's fault because she let her guard down because she was too focused on beating on Dom. And that could lead to a match before Liv Rhea 3. We could have had a match where we did get a really awesome match on Monday Night Raw between them two, but that would have perfectly led into that match where Rhea shows, look, if I wasn't distracted, I'd beat you easily. Now we go to Liv Rhea 3, where we're getting Liv Rhea 3 at Raw on Netflix Day 1, whatever it's called, whatever they end up calling it. And I think that would have been much better if they ended it that way. It just was a very messy ending that I was not a fan of. That's what ruined that match for me personally. And then Bayley Nia 2 was alright, but not nearly as good as their first match. So, enjoyable show, but yeah, the main event and the opener are what made the show the best for me, especially the opening match. And now that's yet another match done, so I have to find. I'm gonna create another match before we move on to the next one. All right, I got another match going, and I changed it to the PLEs so that we can talk about our next PLE, which is also kicking off our top 5, with number 5 being Clash at the Castle from Glasgow, Scotland, the home of Drew McIntyre himself. I thought this was a great match, great PLE. Not a single match I thought was bad. The women's tag match I thought was really good, and they did actually shock me by having the Unholy Union win. I'm not gonna lie, going into it, I thought very firmly that they were gonna have Jade and Bianca retain. They didn't. That shocked me because of how short the reign was. It did definitely feel like they only did it so that they could get the home crowd pop. But still, it was a great moment to see them win in front of their friends and family in their hometown. That was awesome. And that was a good match as well. I thought that Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest was a great match, with a little scare there with Damian Priest getting tied up in the ropes, us wondering if he was okay. I'm not gonna lie, during that whole thing, I could not tell if that was meant to happen or if it was on accident, because I mean, I feel like it was something that seemed like so random that it had to be on accident. But the way it seemed like Damian played into the match. Seemed like, oh, maybe it was planned. I do think it was an accident. Damian just played into it, which I think was great. And then the way CM Punk interfered with the ref being knocked out, Drew goes for the pin. CM Punk shows up, 1, 2, holds up to 2 to Drew McIntyre. He low blows him, and then Drew loses once again because of CM Punk. I thought that was great, a great ending. Kind of heartbreaking. I would have loved Drew McIntyre to win the title in front of his home crowd, but this did help light fire to an even better match that we would get at Bad Blood. And I thought that was great. Bayley and Piper Niven. While that was an obvious one, Bayley wasn't going to lose it to her. Granted, I did think that about the tag titles as well. But it was still a really good match, surprisingly. Like, I wasn't expecting it to be that good, and it was. And then my personal favorite match, I think, from it was actually Cody Rhodes, AJ Styles in an I Quit match. I personally like that match better than their Backlash match. I know that's another hot take because people disagree with that, but I thought it was a great match. I think they could have done something a bit better with the ending. I just think that out of all the things Cody throws at him, the steel steps is what scares him the most. Like, that makes him say I quit. Well, I feel that could have been a bit better, but the rest of the match I thought was just awesome. I love the spot where he jumps up, he goes for the phenomenal forearm. Cody throws the chair at his head, knocks him backwards, he goes through a table. Awesome. I really enjoyed this show, and it cracks the top 5. But now we go into number 4. And at number 4, I actually got the Royal Rumble from St. Petersburg, Florida. I might be a bit biased because this does play into Wrestlemania. It's the first step to Wrestlemania. The road to Wrestlemania begins at the Rumble, and it was really exciting, especially because I knew I was going to be attending night 2 of Mania, and it was, I thought, really fun. So, not talking about the Rumble matches, we're actually going to start with the other matches first. Logan Paul, Kevin Owens, I actually thought was a great match, and I thought it was a very clever way to end it, where Logan Paul has, at this point, pretty much had a traditional ending. He beats the guy. We fight for a while, we get to the end, he pulls out the brass knuckles, he knocks the guy out with the brass knuckles when the ref ain't looking. 1, 2, 3, Logan Paul retains. So this one changes it up in a very interesting way, because Kevin Owens has no problem with using brass knuckles on Logan Paul. So Logan Paul goes for the brass knuckles. He goes for the hit. KO dodges it, steals the brass knuckles, puts it on, knocks Logan Paul out with the brass knuckles. Ref goes 1, 2, but then the ref catches KO with the brass knuckles. I thought that was a brilliant way to end it. Even though I really, really, really wanted KO to win, he didn't. That was okay, because that was a good way, a clever way to end it and change it up a bit. And I thought the match overall was really good. And even the Fatal 4-Way between AJ Styles, LA Knight, yeah, Randy Orton and Roman Reigns was also a great match. I, again, didn't like the ending. Didn't like Solo Sikoa getting involved. I think they could have found a better way to have that end, but it still was an enjoyable match. And the actual Rumble matches I thought were great. The men's Rumble was really fun and exciting, especially when we got down to the final couple, because I had no idea who was going to win. I kind of wanted Cody to win back-to-back because I wanted him to finish the story. I wasn't sure if I didn't think they'd actually pull the trigger and do that, have him win back-to-back. So I kind of felt like it was going to be either CM Punk, maybe even Gunther. So when we got down to the final couple, I was at the edge of my seat. And when Cody won, I thought it was awesome. So, like I was mentioning before, changing the match once again, I thought it was an awesome Rumble, and I was at the edge of my seat, had no idea who was going to win. So I was really excited when Cody actually did win back-to-back. Although I did have a feeling that, okay, if Cody loses at Mania, then this was a terrible decision. But if he wins at Mania, then I think this was a great decision. And we all know he ended up winning. I think this was a great decision. And then the Women's Royal Rumble was also great. We had some shock returns from injury from other companies. A TNA star showing up, which I didn't know. I don't watch TNA, so I didn't actually know who it was, but I saw that she was a TNA champion. I was like, oh my gosh, they actually have someone from another company in the Royal Rumble. That was crazy. And some really close moments where I picked Bayley to win, and she was the one I wanted to win, but I wasn't sure if they'd actually do it or not. But she was my pick, so she was the one I was most likely sure about. So when she did win, it was awesome, and I thought it was a great Rumble match. It came in at 4. It was actually originally 3, but I decided to go at 4. So kicking off the top 3 is SummerSlam from Cleveland, Ohio. I thought this was a great show where every single match was awesome, I think. Seeing if I remember all of them, almost every single match was awesome. Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, I actually really liked that match. I thought it was so much fun. It started with Liv running away. I thought it was funny. We had the ultimate betrayal from Dom betraying Rhea Ripley for Liv Morgan. That was crazy. It was so fun. I honestly had no idea. I ended up also with that match, I had Rhea Ripley pick the win until like the day of. I thought, actually, maybe they might have Liv Morgan win it. So I changed my pick to Liv Morgan. That's what I made my community post on. And throughout the match, I was back and forth. I had no idea who was going to win. Liv ended up winning by hitting the Oblivion onto a chair. It was awesome. I loved that match. We had Damian Priest and Gunther, which I thought was a surprisingly great match. This is when I actually liked the ending of the surprise betrayal by Finn Balor, costing Damian the match. Gunther wins. And I thought that was great. I really enjoyed Bayley versus Nia Jax, which was shocking. I wasn't sure if I was going to like as much as I did. When she powerbombs Nia Jax, it was awesome. And so, like, CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins, a special guest referee, was great, and it was a blast. I think they picked the right. I'm glad that Drew McIntyre ended up winning this one as well. And I really enjoyed it. The only match that I was surprised he wasn't the biggest fan of was actually Cody Rhodes versus Solo Sikoa in another Bloodline Rules match. I saw that could have been better. Honestly, it wasn't that good until I wasn't as interested until Roman Reigns actually returned. That was when I was actually interested again. I'm not gonna lie, it kind of felt like they just wanted to recreate WrestleMania's main event, but with Solo, and it just didn't work as well. So, outside of that, I thought the rest of the show was awesome. So that brings us to 1 and 2. You know what they are. Come on, it's obvious. They may not actually be the best show, but to me it was. Number 2, I got WrestleMania 40 Part 1 from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, a.k.a. Night 1, that being Saturdays. I thought this was a great show. I was so excited for it. I liked a lot of the matches. There were some weaker matches. Jimmy versus Jey Uso was not as good as I was hoping for, but there was still some fun stuff. Becky Lynch, Rhea Ripley, well, not my favorite. I thought it was a solid match. The 6-pack ladder match was amazing. I thought it was a blast. I was so glad that Awesome Truth won. Gunther versus Sami Zayn was awesome, and I really liked the main event. Was also really good. I didn't like it as much as other people did. It was a bit too long, and the first half was slow, but once we really got into the match, it was awesome. That being Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes teaming against Roman Reigns and The Rock was fun. I enjoyed it, and it was just crazy. It was so much fun. I wasn't there for this one, because you know, but it was still a blast to watch from home. And then that leads us to the number one, WrestleMania 40 Part 2, still from Philadelphia. Like I said, I may be biased. My favorite city, home of my favorite football team. I was there. So, my first ever WrestleMania, my first ever PLE actually, and heck, I think it was maybe my second actual show. It was just amazing. I liked every match from this night. To me, the weakest match was still good, that being the Final Testament versus the Street Profits with Bobby Lashley. And even that one was a blast because it was a street fight. We had all the fun table spots and stuff like that. So like LA Knight, AJ Styles was fun. Bayley versus Io Sky I thought was great, and I did rewatch the recording of this night, so I got to see what everybody else got to see from their homes as well. I thought it was just a blast. Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, I thought was great, and the shock of Damian Priest coming in, which was kind of funny too, because with that cash in, like I kind of predicted going into it, like, oh man, I feel like Damian Priest is gonna cash in on either Cody, which I would hate, or if he wins, maybe Roman, or whoever, or Seth Rollins or Drew McIntyre, but in the moment when his music hit, I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot he has the Money in the Bank briefcase. Came out and cashed in. It was a blast. It was awesome. And obviously that main event, Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns for the title. And first of all, it was the first half of that match was great. It was a great one-on-one match. No rules. They did each other's finishers on each other. They went out into the crowd, not near where I was, because, you know, I couldn't get like far up there. But that was awesome. And then the craziness and it happens. Jimmy Uso comes out. Then Jay's music hits. There's Jay Uso. They duke it out. So Sikoa pops up, and then all of a sudden John Cena's music hits. John Cena comes out. They take care of that. Then The Rock's music hits. The Rock comes out. The Rock and John Cena face off. The Rock hits the rock bottom on John Cena. Then Undertaker's music hits. Undertaker, it goes dark. Undertaker comes out, chokeslams The Rock. Lights go out. Undertaker's gone. Heck, in that mess, I forgot to mention Seth Rollins comes out with the Shield music. Not gonna lie, I thought Dean Ambrose was coming out when that music hit, but he didn't. That's okay. Seth Rollins comes out. Seth Rollins is the reason why Roman Reigns loses, because he gets distracted hitting Seth with the chair, calling back to what Seth betrayed Roman. Cody hits crossroads 1, crossroads 2, crossroads 3, the finish the story. That was so much fun. And the fact that I was there for it is just, I will never forget that ever. Like I said, I may be biased. I may be super biased. If this was in the home of some other football team, let's say it was in the home of Dallas or something like that, or I wasn't there, then maybe it would be lower. I mean, actually, I don't think it would, because that main event was still so awesome. But maybe it would be. I don't care. I thought it was a blast. I made 3 videos on it. I made a predictions, a review, and a ranking of the matches. So much fun. So that's my ranking of the WWE PLEs. I thought it was really fun. Like I said, I don't think there was a bad show this year, but I liked some more than others, especially that top 5. And yeah, so if you got, I don't do much WWE stuff, but if you like 3D, please like. If you want to see more, let me know in the comments below. I'll do some more. I kind of want to do my top 10 matches of the year. We'll see what happens. If you want to see more videos, hit subscribe. I've done mostly Marvel DC stuff. I'm gonna expand though I want to do some more wrestling stuff, some more other movie stuff. We'll see what happens. But yeah, share your ranking. If you're a wrestling fan and you've seen this, share your ranking. If not, well, you can still tell me your thoughts on this ranking. But yeah, thanks so much for taking the time to watch. I'll see you guys later. Bye.